Good morning, class. Go ahead and take your seats. No. Hold your questions. This morning, as we work our way through our flight lesson plan, we are on key number 5, which is propeller. A propeller is a device that transforms rotational power into linear thrust by acting upon a fluid such as water or air. And our example here is of a helicopter. So let's look at some propellers, or the idea of how a propeller works. And so here I have a candle. I have a bunch of ways to light it. I'm going to choose the regular lighter. I generally like to use a match, but I don't want the fumes because I'm trapped inside. All right, so we have a candle flame, and you can kind of see the reaction of this giant propeller, which I had previously used to describe what a turbine would look like. If we poured water on here and we had a turbine set up here, we could generate electricity out. And that would be a reaction to a fluid. And you can see how the fins, or the blades, or in the case of flight, we would call them foils, airfoils, how they determine how it behaves. So I can kind of spin it around, and I don't have it anchored, which makes it troublesome. So can I get this thing to blow out the candle? I don't think I can because I can't hold it, but you can see it's definitely interacting with the air around it. And I'll try and spin it nice and slow as I blow out the candle, and we get some smoke. You can see how it disrupts the smoke. And that's a propeller motion in a fluid. I have a second device that shows how a propeller would work, and this is a model of something you can make out of PVC pipe, but here it's wind powered. So if I rotate it like this, these legs start to move, and I can show how it behaves more aggressively if I add more fluid, or in this case, more air. Okay, I'm back, and how am I gonna add more air? Well, I have a trusty leaf blower, and I'll just take off one of these bits so I can control the air a little bit more. I anticipate stuff flying all over my office, but let's see how it goes. Let's put this guy over here. I'm gonna plug in, and we'll add more air to the situation. Oh no, it's way too strong. I'll have to back up and see if I can't. All right, start headed for the cliff. But you can see how the air, the fluid, presses on the foil in an interesting way and causes it to rotate. Now, instead of the air flowing through the propeller, if you had an engine over here that generated movement here, it would suck the air forward and you would actually get a propeller. Or in the case of a helicopter, it would be upside down, or it would be vertical, and the engine would turn it and it would pull the air and it would lift the helicopter. And then if you rotate the blades, as a helicopter is able to do, it can rotate the blades. It can thrust forward, back, side to side, just by rotating these blades. However, with the spinning, it creates a torque that would spin the helicopter. So what they did is they put another, out here, they put another propeller that counters that spinning torque motion. And so this one sucks that way, and it prevents it from spinning, and together they can really maneuver a vehicle, which is what helicopters are known for, their maneuverability. All right, so now, after we've kind of investigated propellers a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and make one. And so very early on, people could understand a propeller in some way because of this maple seed. And this falls off of trees, and let's see if mine broke, so I had to tape it together, but if it, well, I'll record a drop and we can see its rotation. So I'll put that in right here. All right, so we're back and we've seen how this will spin and how that would have sparked the idea of propeller motion and flight, propeller flight. And so we have these seats, so we're gonna go ahead and make a seat. So I'm gonna need a piece of paper, these maple seed propellers. So I need a piece of paper, I'd like to have a ruler, a pencil, and you'll need a pair of scissors. So right now this piece of paper is way too big, so we're gonna go ahead and hamburger fold it over. That means it's the kind of broader way as opposed to a hot dog fold, which makes it thin, which was where a hot dog bun would look like. So this is a hamburger bun fold, and we're just gonna cut that in half. Doesn't need to be perfect, but the better it is, the better the outcome. And then once we have this, now we can work with some, this is a size we can actually work with. And we're gonna take this edge right here, and we're gonna match it up with this edge to create a square. We're looking to create a square. All right, so you got that. And now we have this extra rectangle of paper, and we can kind of fold it inward and reveal where it is, and then we can take our scissors and cut along that fold. All right, so here we are, we have a square. Now, we already have it folded in half, we've already folded it in half, so we have that center line, and you're gonna take one of the points and put it right towards the middle. Try and make sure it is in the middle. And then you're going to take the other point and do the same. These are folds we've done before in the box, in making the box. So now we have three folds. Actually, we have the center and two on the outside. Now we're going to take one corner and bring it all the way to the other side's fold. And again, you got to try and make it parallel. And now you have two, and you do it to the other side as well. Bring it all the way across. Try and make sure this fold is parallel with the center line. That'll help you keep it straight. There we go. All right, so we just finished folding, and now we'll have 4 vertical lines going up this way. We're going to take this one back to this position. So we took one corner, put it back down. It should be facing down towards you, towards your left. Then you fold this up. You take the bottom edge and fold it up. So we started here, we folded it down, we fold this edge up. Now we take this corner and fold it all the way to that edge. So we were here, we took this corner and put it all the way to that edge. So we pulled it up, and there we go. Now we have this nice little arrow pointing up with a little bit of the tail. We're going to take that tail and fold it in. And so now you have a diamond shape. And there should be a line there, and that point goes that way. All right. Next, we're gonna tilt the diamond a little bit, and we'll take this bottom inch and fold it up. And then we're gonna fold the whole thing. We gotta hold it in place. We're gonna fold it in half. And then one final thing, we'll rotate it over and fold it in half again. And there you'll have your leaf, your maple leaf. Now it's actually ready to fly, but I actually like to put a little bit of, I'll put a little bit of glue in here, and then I'll put a clip on it. And if you have that, I'll show you how to do that in just 1 second. Okay, so I got my glue, and I'll get a clip. I have one of these nice clips, and I'll put just a touch of glue in there. Let's make sure it's open. Yep, it should be flowing. Not too much. I don't want it to be a mess, which I just made, but there we go. Now I can kind of squeeze that into place, and I'll add my clip, and then I can let it dry. In the meantime, I'm going to use this one to see how it flies. All right, we're back. The challenge with this little maple leaf, you could also use tape to close it, but the challenge is to go very small. How small can you make it? So all you need is just a piece of paper. You'll still have nice clean edges from leftover, and you can go smaller. Same folds, just smaller and smaller and smaller. And then if you get really small and it still spins, it should still spin, which shows how these principles of flight work at different scales and in different fluids. But try to go bigger, and eventually you'll see some interesting things happen when you go so big that it gets really floppy and you can't get it to spin. You'd need more air, a bigger drop zone. But you can go really, really small without anything changing about it. It will still spin. So let's go ahead and move on to our next propeller. And for this one, I have it right here. For this one, you can use a regular piece of paper, one of the ones we have left over, or it's actually designed specifically to be done with a note card. It's the standard note card. If you don't have a note card, you can just use a piece of paper. A note card is about 3 by 5 inches long. So 3 inches wide and about 5 inches long. So 3 by 5. And so once you have your 3 by 5 piece of paper, we'll move this off to the side. You're going to divide it up into 1-inch pieces. So I have a ruler. I put it into 3 inches, and then I'll just mark the 1 and the 2 inch, and then I'll go down and I'll mark the 1 and the 2 inch, and then I connect those 2 marks with a straight line, and it should be straight and parallel to the edge. But it doesn't need to be perfect for this. Still, precision is always good. Now, we're going to separate the top and the bottom, and we have 5, so we'll go about to the middle, which is about 2.5 inches, and we'll mark it on both sides. And we'll connect those 2 marks. And then we're going to put about 1/2 inch from that line, another line. So roughly about 1/2 inch. And we'll connect those 2 lines. And you'll have a cross, something of a cross. Now you'll need your scissors. On one side you have the propeller, the propellers. On the other side you have the base, and in the middle you have this triangle base. So what we'll do on this side is we're going to cut horizontally. And then along this line, we'll cut vertically. Just to that middle section. And we'll put the base together first. And just fold it in. Very good. And then you're going to fold these in as well. However, you're also going to fold them back along that line. Oh, I didn't cut them all the way. have something that looks like that right now. And I'll use some tape here and some tape there. So let me go grab that. Now when using tape, you don't want to use too much. As little as possible, in fact. Put a piece there. Put a piece there. And then I'll close the base with a piece. Alright, and now you have your propellers. They need to be up a little bit, but also you need to turn them into a foil for a propeller shape. So you're going to rotate them all in one direction, like bending them outward, so that they have a foil shape to them. And then when you drop it, you can kind of give it a spin. So the air is going to hit here, the pressure is going to push it that way. So I'd spin it, I'd let it drop like, whoop, with that kind of spin. You can almost help it get going. So let's see how that one flies. All right, we're back and we're finishing up. So we can see that through the maple seed, you can understand how a propeller will work in a fluid such as air. We've seen how it can create force outward, but if we reverse it by giving more energy, more air through it, it can generate the force. Now, of course, with a helicopter, you have an engine that's turning the propeller, and that's being able to manipulate the force to move the helicopter. And with the leaf blower, though I don't think you can quite see in there, it's just a propeller, sort of like this one or the big one that I made out of cardboard, attached to a big engine run by electricity. And it can shoot the air out, which creates a lot of thrust this way. It also creates a lot of torque in there, which is why you would need a second one to balance that out if you were riding a helicopter. And we'll look at some helicopters in motion to get a full understanding of how it works. Thanks for joining us this morning.